Captain Taeho Kim bit into his sandwich as he looked over the daily reports. The cafeteria of the Earth Defense Force ship Persistence was quiet at this hour. Most of the crew was at their stations, leaving Taeho to enjoy his lunch in peace. The turkey sandwich wasn't great, but it was better than the protein packs they had eaten last week. He was about to take another bite when the alarm blared. "All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. Captain Kim to the bridge immediately." Taeho dropped his sandwich and ran. His heart pounded as he rushed through the corridors. In his 15 years of service, the alarm had never sounded like this outside of practice drills. When he burst onto the bridge, everyone was already at their stations. The main screen showed something impossible, a fleet of ships unlike anything humans had built, appearing at the edge of the solar system. "Report," Taeho ordered, sliding into his command chair. Commander Subin Park turned from her tactical station. Her face was pale but calm. "Sir, we detected 23 unknown vessels entering the solar system near Neptune's orbit. They appeared suddenly. No warp signature we recognize." Taeho stared at the screen. "First contact," he whispered. Humanity had wondered for centuries if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. "They're sending a signal, sir," said Communications Officer Jae-min Choi. I think they're trying to communicate." "Put it on screen," Taeho ordered. The main screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. It had smooth purple skin, 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, and no visible nose. When it spoke, the words came through the ship's translation system with only a slight delay. "Greetings, inhabitants of the third planet. I am Ambassador Molt of the Vexari Collective. We come with peaceful intentions and request a diplomatic meeting." Taeho felt the weight of history on his shoulders. He was about to become the first human to speak with an alien civilization. "This is Captain Taeho Kim of the Earth Defense Force. We welcome your peaceful approach and agree to a diplomatic meeting." Commander Subin stepped close to him and whispered, "Sir, I strongly advise against meeting them on their ship. We know nothing about them." Taeho nodded but made his decision. "Sometimes leadership requires risk, Commander. Prepare a shuttle. You and Lieutenant Yoon will accompany me." 3 hours later, Taeho's shuttle approached the massive Vexari command ship. It was at least 20 times the size of the Persistence, with a design that reminded him of a giant arrowhead. "Their technology is far beyond ours," muttered Lieutenant Yoon, a young security officer with a talent for weapon systems. "Which is why we need this meeting to go well," Taeho replied. The shuttle docked smoothly in a bay that opened for them. When the door opened, 3 Vexari stood waiting. In person, they were taller than humans, nearly 7 feet, with thin bodies and 4-fingered hands. "Captain Kim," Ambassador Molt said with a small bow. "Thank you for coming. Please follow me to our meeting chamber." As they walked through the alien ship, Taeho noticed how the Vexari kept looking at them with what seemed like confusion. Several aliens with different uniforms approached, scanning the humans with small devices. "Forgive our scientists," Molt said. "Your species is new to our records." The meeting room was a large circular chamber with a table that seemed to be made of some kind of metal that glowed softly. As they sat down, more Vexari entered the room, some carrying instruments Taeho didn't recognize. "The Vexari Collective spans 3 galactic sectors," Molt explained. "We have encountered 47 intelligent species and brought them all into our peaceful union." "Brought them in?" Commander Subin asked sharply. "What exactly does that mean?" Molt's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Integration is always peaceful. All species eventually see the benefits of joining the collective." One of the Vexari scientists approached Molt and whispered something. The ambassador's eyes widened slightly before returning to their normal state. "Is something wrong?" Taeho asked. "Not at all," Molt replied too quickly. "Our scientists are simply curious about human physiology. You are unique in certain ways." The meeting continued for another hour. The Vexari asked many questions about Earth's population, governments, and military capabilities. Taeho answered carefully, providing general information while avoiding specifics. As the meeting ended, Ambassador Molt walked them back to their shuttle. We look forward to integrating your species into our harmonious collective. The adaptation process will be enlightening for all parties. Something in the way Molt said this made Tae-ho uneasy. Back on the Persistence, Tae-ho called his senior officers to the conference room. "I don't trust them," Subin said immediately. "They asked too many questions about our defenses." Chief Medical Officer Mi-jin Song nodded in agreement. "Did you notice how interested they were in our biology? Their scientists kept scanning us and whispering to each other." "I noticed that too," Tae-ho said. "Something about us surprised them." Jaemin Choi, who had been analyzing the communication data from the meeting, looked up from his tablet. "Sir, I've been reviewing the translation. When they were whispering, our translators picked up fragments. They kept repeating a phrase that translates roughly to missing regulator or no inhibitor." "What does that mean?" Tae-ho asked. Mi-jin frowned. "I'm not sure, but in biological terms, an inhibitor is something that prevents a process from happening. They might have been looking for something in our bodies that they expected to find." "Captain," the ship's AI announced, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth Command. Admiral Kang wishes to speak with you." The screen lit up with the face of Admiral Do-yeon Kang, the head of the Earth Defense Force. "Captain Kim, your first contact report has been received. The Security Council is divided on how to proceed. Some see this as a great opportunity. Others are concerned about the Vexari's intentions." "What are your orders, sir?" Tae-ho asked. "For now, maintain a diplomatic stance but be on high alert. We're sending 4 more ships to your position. They'll arrive within 48 hours. After the Admiral signed off, Tae-ho turned to his officers. "I want round-the-clock monitoring of the Vexari fleet. Any unusual movement, any signal they send, I want to know immediately." "Sir," Subin said hesitantly, "what if their talk of integration isn't as peaceful as they claim?" Tae-ho looked out the viewport at the distant shape of the Vexari command ship. "Then we'll be ready." On the Vexari command ship, Ambassador Molt entered the private chamber of Fleet Commander Draz. The commander's 8 decorative tentacles, marks of high military rank, twitched in agitation. "Is it true?" Draz demanded. Molt lowered his head. "Yes, Commander. The humans have no neural combat inhibitor. Our scientists confirmed it." Draz slammed a fist on his desk. "How is this possible? Every sentient species evolves with a combat inhibitor. It's a basic survival mechanism to prevent self-destruction." "These humans are different," Molt said. "They evolved on a harsh world with constant predator threats. Their evolution took a different path." Draz turned to the window, looking out at the small human ship. "Do they understand what this means? Do they know how dangerous they are?" "I don't believe so," Molt replied. "They have no comparison. For them, their biology is normal." "The High Council must be informed," Draz said. "This changes our approach completely. The standard pacification fields will be useless against them." "What are your orders, Commander?" Draz was silent for a long moment. "We proceed as planned, but accelerate the timeline. Prepare the invasion fleet. We cannot allow a species without a combat inhibitor to remain free. They are too unpredictable, too dangerous." "And if they resist the integration?" Molt asked. Draz's eyes narrowed. "Then we will learn whether their lack of an inhibitor makes them superior fighters, or simply means they haven't learned when to stop fighting a battle they cannot win." Neither Vexari noticed the small maintenance drone in the corner of the room, a drone that had been reprogrammed by Lieutenant Yoon during the diplomatic visit, and was now transmitting everything back to the Persistence. 3 weeks had passed since first contact with the Vexari. Captain Tae-ho Kim had not slept well since that day. The secret recording from Lieutenant Yoon's drone had been sent to Earth Command. Every military base on the planet was now on high alert. The Vexari fleet had grown. What started as 23 ships had become over 100. They claimed these were cultural exchange vessels, but Tae-ho didn't believe them. "Captain, emergency transmission from Earth Command," said communications. Officer Jaemin Admiral Do-yeon Kang's face appeared on screen. His expression was grim. "Captain Kim, our deep space sensors have detected massive energy buildups in the Vexari fleet. They're preparing to attack. All Earth defense forces are now at war status." Taeho gripped the arms of his chair. "We're ready, Admiral. Your orders are to protect the orbital defense platforms. Earth's ground forces are moving to defensive positions. Good luck, Captain." The transmission ended. Commander Subin looked at Taeho. "It's happening just as we feared." "Battle stations," Taeho ordered. "Prepare all weapon systems." The alarm sounded throughout the ship as the crew rushed to their positions. On the Yao main screen, Taeho watched as the Vexari ships began to move. They split into smaller groups, each heading toward different parts of Earth. "They're targeting major cities," Subin reported. "Tokyo, New York, London, Seoul. Target the nearest. Vexari vessel and fire when ready," Taeho ordered. The Persistence shook as its main cannons fired. The energy beam struck a Vexari ship, but its shields easily absorbed the impact. "Minimal damage to enemy shields," Subin reported. "Their technology is significantly advanced compared to ours." On the screen, Taeho watched as dozens of smaller Vexari ships descended toward Earth's surface. There was nothing he could do to stop them all. Colonel Ji-won Lee stood in the command center beneath Seoul. Screens showed the approaching Vexari ships. His battalion of 500 soldiers was ready, but he wondered if they stood a chance against such advanced technology. "All units in position, sir," reported his second-in-command, Major Yoon-ji Bae. "Civilian evacuation is at 67% complete." "Not enough time," Ji-won muttered. "They're moving too fast." The largest screen showed a Vexari ship hovering over the city center. It was disc-shaped and nearly a kilometer wide. A soft blue light began to pulse from its underside, spreading across the city like a gentle wave. "What is that?" Yoon-ji asked. "Unknown," Ji-won replied. "But I doubt it's friendly. All units, prepare to engage." The blue light grew brighter, washing over the city. Ji-won felt a strange tingling sensation, but nothing more. He waited for something to happen, some weapon to fire, some destruction to begin, but there was nothing except the pulsing blue light. His radio crackled with confused reports from his units. No one was under attack. The aliens simply hovered, projecting their light. "Sir," Yoon-ji said, "there's a transmission from the Vexari ship. They're broadcasting on all frequencies." The voice of Ambassador Molt filled the command center. "People of Earth, the pacification field has been activated. Please remain calm as the integration process begins. Resistance is no longer possible. Your neural combat inhibitors have been activated. You cannot fight. You cannot resist. The Vexari Collective welcomes you." Ji-won and Yoon-ji looked at each other in confusion. "Neural combat inhibitors?" Yoon-ji asked. "What is he talking about?" Ji-won grabbed his rifle. "I don't know, but I can still fight. All units attack the Vexari ships. I repeat, attack the Vexari ships." Throughout Seoul, human soldiers opened fire on the hovering alien vessels. Anti-aircraft. Missiles launched from hidden bunkers. Fighter jets screamed overhead, releasing their payloads. Through his binoculars, Ji-won watched as their attacks struck the Vexari shields. The aliens seemed confused. They had not returned fire yet. "Sir," Yoon-ji called out, "reports coming in from around the world. The Vexari are broadcasting the same message everywhere. They claim to have activated something to stop us from fighting. But all Earth forces are still fully operational." Ji-won smiled grimly. "Then we have a chance. Order all units to press the attack. Let's show these aliens that humans will not surrender easily." On the Vexari command ship, Science Director Vrilt stared at the data in disbelief. The main screen showed battles raging around the planet. Human forces were attacking Vexari ships, everywhere. "Impossible!" Vrilt shouted. "The pacification field is at maximum power. Their neural combat inhibitors should be fully activated." Fleet Commander Draz stormed into the science bay. "Why are the humans still fighting?" "You assured me the pacification field would work." Vrilt's 4 eyes blinked rapidly in distress. "Commander, I don't understand. Every species we've encountered has a neural pathway that, when stimulated by the correct frequency, shuts down aggressive behavior. It's an evolutionary safeguard that all intelligent life develops to prevent self-destruction. Clearly, not all intelligent life, Draz snapped. The humans have no such inhibitor, nothing to shut down their fighting response. But that's biologically impossible, Vrilt insisted. Without a combat inhibitor, a species would destroy itself before achieving spaceflight. A junior officer interrupted them. Commander, we've lost 4 ships in the Sol sector. The humans have adapted their weapons to penetrate our shields. Draz stared at the officer in shock. 4 ships? To primitive humans? Yes, sir. And similar reports are coming in from other sectors. The humans have no reaction to the pacification field. They continue to fight. Draz turned back to Vrilt. Your pacification strategy has failed. Order all ships to use conventional weapons. We must subdue these humans by force. As Draz stormed out, Vrilt turned to his assistant. Run a full spectral analysis of human neural patterns. There must be some frequency that will trigger their inhibitors. Every species has one. We just haven't found theirs yet. The assistant looked nervous. And if they truly don't have inhibitors, Director? Vrilt's skin paled. Then we face a species unlike any we've encountered before. A species with no natural limit to their aggression. A species that never learned to stop fighting. Lieutenant I. Hansol Yoon led his Special Forces team through the abandoned streets of Seoul. Above them, the Vexari ship continued to emit its useless blue light. Target in sight, Hansol whispered into his radio. His team had reached the Vexari landing site. A smaller alien ship had touched down in the city center, and alien soldiers were setting up equipment. The Vexari looked strange in their full battle gear. Their armor was bulky, with glowing lines running through it. They moved with confidence, clearly not expecting resistance. Remember the plan, Hansol told his team. We capture their technology intact if possible. Earth Command wants to understand how their weapons work. He gave the signal, and his team attacked. The Vexari soldiers were completely unprepared. They turned in shock as the humans opened fire. Several aliens fell immediately. One Vexari officer kept pressing a device on his wrist, looking increasingly desperate. Hansol shot him in the leg and approached as the alien fell. Why, still fighting? The Vexari gasped in broken human language. Inhibitor. Activated. Hansol knelt beside the wounded alien. I don't know what you're talking about, but humans don't stop fighting when we're invaded. The alien's 4 eyes widened in what looked like fear. No off switch, he whispered. How is possible? All species have off switch. Hansol stood up as his team secured the area. He contacted Colonel Jiwan over the radio. Sir, we've captured a Vexari landing site and several prisoners. They seem shocked that we're able to fight back. Good work, Lieutenant, G1 replied. Similar reports are coming in worldwide. The aliens expected their blue light to stop us from fighting. They were wrong. Hansol looked up at the massive ship still hovering above the city. They thought we had some kind of built-in surrender button, he said. They don't understand humans very well, do they? As his team began examining the alien technology, Hansol felt a strange mix of pride and worry. The aliens had conquered 47 other species using this pacification field. Only humans had proven immune. He wondered what that said about humanity, and what the desperate Vexari would try next. 1 month after the invasion began, the war had reached a stalemate. The Vexari had superior technology, but their strategy had failed completely. Across Earth, humans continued to fight with growing skill and determination. On the Vexari command ship, Fleet Commander Draz faced a crisis. A group of ship captains had gathered in the main conference room, and none of them looked happy. The humans have destroyed 19 more of our ships, Captain Lort reported. They've adapted their weapons to our shield frequencies. And our ground forces are facing constant attacks, added Captain Meza. The humans never stop. They fight during the day, they fight at night. They fight even when they're injured. Draz slammed his fist on the table. We've conquered 47 species across 3 galactic sectors. We will not be defeated by one primitive planet. Science Director Vrilt entered the room looking tired. His purple skin had faded to a sickly lavender color. "Director Vrilt," Draz said, "please tell me you have found their combat inhibitor." Vrilt lowered his head. "Commander, after extensive study of captured humans, I must report a disturbing truth. Humans do not have a neural combat inhibitor, not anywhere in their biology." A shocked silence filled the room. "That's impossible," Captain Lort whispered. "Every sentient species evolves with an inhibitor. It prevents them from destroying themselves." "Not humans," Vrilt said. "Their evolutionary path was different. Their planet had such dangerous predators that the humans who survived were the ones who never stopped fighting, even when badly hurt. Over time, this trait became fixed in their species." Captain Meza looked horrified. "So there is no way to activate their off switch, because they don't have one?" "Precisely," Vrilt confirmed. "And now this information is spreading among our troops. Many are refusing to fight the humans directly. They fear creatures that cannot be pacified." Draz stood up straight. "This changes nothing. We have superior technology. We will simply adjust our strategy." But as the meeting ended, Draz knew things had changed. For the first time in Vexari history, they faced an enemy that couldn't be easily controlled. An enemy that simply didn't know when to stop fighting. Dr. Mireille Choi worked late in her laboratory at the Seoul Defense Headquarters. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, she had been given access to the captured Vexari prisoners and their equipment. For weeks, she had studied their biology, trying to understand what made them so different from humans. Tonight, she had finally made a breakthrough. Colonel Ji-Won Lee entered her lab. "Dr. Choi, I was told you have important news." Mireille nodded excitedly. "Colonel, I've found something remarkable in the Vexari brain." She pointed to a scan on her screen. "This neural pathway here, it's present in all the Vexari prisoners. It's activated by their pacification field and immediately shuts down aggressive behavior." "So that's the combat inhibitor they keep talking about," Ji-Won said. "Yes, but that's not all." Mireille pulled up more images. "I requested brain scans from our allies who have captured members of other alien species working with the Vexari. Every single one has a similar neural pathway. It varies in location and structure, but the function is the same." Ji-Won frowned. "And humans don't have this?" "No," Mireille confirmed. "I've compared these scans to human brain structures. We have nothing like it. When humans feel threatened, our brain releases chemicals that prepare us to either fight or run away, but we don't have any automatic stop-fighting response. Is that why the blue light doesn't affect us?" "Exactly. Their pacification field is designed to trigger this neural pathway. But since we don't have it, the field has no effect on us." Mireille leaned forward. "Colonel, do you understand what this means? Every species the Vexari have encountered before, us evolved with this built-in mechanism that prevents them from fighting to the death. It's like a safety feature that all intelligent life is supposed to have. All intelligent life except humans," Ji-Won added softly. Mireille nodded. "Our evolutionary history was different. Earth was so dangerous that we survived by never giving up, by fighting through pain and fear." She looked at her screen again. "The Vexari and all their subject species think this makes us broken somehow, dangerous." "They're right," Ji-Won said with a small smile. "We are dangerous, especially to invaders." Captain Tae-ho Kim stood on the bridge of the Persistence. His ship had taken damage in the last battle, but repairs were almost complete. The main screen showed Earth below, with Vexari ships positioned above major cities. "Captain," Commander Subin called, "incoming transmission from Earth Command." Admiral Do-yeon Kang appeared on screen. "Captain Kim, Dr. Choi's findings have been confirmed by our scientists worldwide. The information about the neural combat inhibitor explains the Vexari conquest strategy. They've built their entire empire on exploiting this biological feature that all other species share. And now they've met a species without it," Tae-ho said. "Exactly. We've decoded more of their communications. The Vexari soldiers are becoming afraid." The story is spreading that humans can't be stopped, that we fight with a ferocity they've never encountered. We should use that fear, Tejo suggested. Make them believe we're even more dangerous than we actually are, the Admiral smiled. Already in progress. I'm sending new orders to all Earth Defense Forces. We're going to hit them harder than ever. I want the Vexari to understand exactly what it means to fight an enemy with no off switch. After the transmission ended, Tejo called his crew together. I have an announcement to make, he said. Many of you have wondered why the Vexari seem so confused by our resistance. Now we know. Dr. Choi has discovered that every other intelligent species the Vexari have encountered evolved with a neural pathway that automatically stops them from fighting when they face overwhelming odds. He paused, looking at the faces of his crew. Humans don't have this. Where other species evolved a safety mechanism to prevent them from fighting to extinction, we evolved to keep fighting no matter what. The Vexari expected us to have a built-in surrender mechanism. We don't. And that terrifies them. Engineer Hee-Jun Kwan raised his hand. So their whole strategy was to press this off switch that we don't have? Exactly, Tejo confirmed. They've conquered 47 species using the same tactic. Now they've met the first species that can't be controlled by their pacification field. No wonder they're scared, Lieutenant Hansol said with a grim smile. They've never had to fight a real war before. Tejo nodded. And now they're learning what happens when you attack a species that doesn't know how to give up. Across the planet, human resistance intensified. The story of the missing combat inhibitor spread, giving people a new sense of pride and determination. In space, Admiral Do-Yeon Kang coordinated a massive counteroffensive. The Vexari were fighting an enemy that didn't operate by the rules they understood. Their soldiers became increasingly nervous and hesitant. Some refused to engage with humans directly. In a small Vexari outpost near Tokyo, 2 alien soldiers watched as human forces approached their position. I heard the humans feel no fear, one soldier whispered. That they keep fighting even with terrible injuries. I heard they enjoy combat, the other replied. That they have special warriors who seek out the most dangerous battles for pleasure. When the human attack began, the Vexari soldiers surrendered immediately. Similar scenes played out around the world as the story of humanity's unique nature spread through the Vexari ranks. The invaders who had confidently expected an easy victory found themselves facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. In Seoul, Colonel Ji-won watched from a rooftop as a Vexari ship retreated from the city. Next to him, Lieutenant Hansol grinned. Looks like they're learning, Hansol said. Ji-won nodded. Yes, they're learning that their greatest weapon is useless against us, that humans fight hardest when our backs are against the wall. Do you think we can win? Hansol asked. I think, Ji-won replied, that the Vexari are about to discover that invading Earth was the biggest mistake they've ever made. As he spoke, more Earth Defense Force ships appeared in the sky, weapons ready. The human counterattack was just beginning. 6 months into the war, Earth had pushed back many of the Vexari forces. Dozens of alien ships had been destroyed or captured. Human scientists had begun to understand and adapt Vexari technology for their own use. Captain Tai-Ho Kim stood on the bridge of the Persistence, which now featured several upgrades based on captured alien tech. His ship had become one of the most effective weapons against the invaders. Captain, said Communications Officer Jamin, long-range sensors are detecting a new ship entering Earth orbit. It's not Vexari. Tejo tensed. Another alien species? Are they with the Vexari? Unknown, sir, Jamin replied. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. They say they want to talk. The main screen showed a strange ship. Its design was completely different from the Vexari vessels. Where Vexari, ships were angular and metallic. This craft was curved and seemed to shimmer with a blue-green light. They're hailing us specifically, Jamin said with surprise. Put them through, Tejo ordered. The face that appeared on screen wasn't Vexari. This alien had soft blue skin, large golden eyes, and what looked like delicate fins where ears would be on a human. "Greetings, warriors of Earth," the alien said. "I am Zelith of the Astral Concord. We have watched your resistance against the Vexari with great interest." Taeho stepped forward. "This is Captain Taeho Kim of the Earth Defense Force. What is your purpose here?" "To meet the species that has done what none other could do. Resist Vexari pacification," Zelith replied. "We wish to speak with your leaders. We bring an offer of alliance." 3 days later, Ambassador Jin Woo Kang sat in a secure conference room in Seoul. As Earth's top diplomat, he had been chosen to meet with the representatives of the Astral Concord. Colonel Ji-won Lee and Dr. Mi-rae Choi were also present, along with officials from major nations. Zelith entered with 2 other aliens of different species. One had red skin and 4 arms, while the other was insect-like with compound eyes. "Thank you for agreeing to meet," Zelith said. "The Astral Concord is a coalition of species who have been subjugated by the Vexari for centuries." "Why have you come to Earth?" Jinwoo asked. "We've watched your resistance with great interest," Zelith explained. "No species has ever withstood the Vexari pacification fields. Your people are different." The red-skinned alien stepped forward. "I am Karox of the Thulian people. For 300 years, my species has served the Vexari. We could not resist when they activated our neural inhibitors. The same is true for all members of the Concord," added the insect-like alien in a clicking voice. "I am Trist of the Xylo Hive. My people were once proud warriors until the Vexari discovered the frequency that triggers our combat inhibitors." Jinwoo nodded. "Dr. Choi has studied this phenomenon. Humans evolved without this neural pathway, which makes you unique in the galaxy," Zelith said, "and potentially the salvation of many enslaved worlds." Jinwoo leaned forward. "What exactly are you proposing?" "An alliance," Zelith replied. "We have technology and resources but lack the human ability to resist the pacification fields. Together, we might finally defeat our oppressors." Colonel Ji-won looked skeptical. "How do we know this isn't a Vexari trap?" "A fair question," Zelith acknowledged. "We're prepared to share valuable intelligence about Vexari defenses and weaknesses. We can also provide advanced technology that will help your forces." Dr. Mi-rae spoke up. "If your people want freedom, why haven't you fought back before? Surely, not all of you are within range of the pacification fields at all times." Karox nodded. "A good observation. The truth is, the pacification effect creates more than temporary compliance. Regular exposure makes permanent changes to our brains. Many of our people can no longer even think about fighting back. But some of us," Trist clicked, "have stayed hidden on remote worlds, away from the fields. We've been waiting for a chance to strike, but we lacked the numbers." Jinwoo glanced at his colleagues, then back to the aliens. "We need time to consider your offer and verify your claims." "Of course," Zelith said. "We expected nothing less from the species that has the Vexari. So frightened." 1 week later, after intense discussions and careful verification of the aliens' information, Earth's leaders accepted the alliance. The Astral Concord members began sharing their technology and knowledge. In her laboratory, Dr. Mi-rae Choi worked with Concord scientists to understand the neural combat inhibitor more thoroughly. She had an idea that might change the course of the war. "If we understand how the inhibitor works," she explained to Colonel Ji-won, "we might be able to temporarily block it in the Concord species. It would allow them to fight alongside humans without being affected by the pacification fields." "Is that possible?" Ji-won asked. "I think so," Mi-rae said. "We could develop a neural implant that interrupts the signal from the pacification field to the inhibitor." When she shared her idea with Zelith and the other Concord leaders, they were amazed. "You could free our minds?" Karox asked, his 4 hands trembling with emotion. "Temporarily, yes," Mi-rae explained. "The implant would block the effect of the pacification field. It wouldn't remove the inhibitor, but it would prevent it from being activated." "Even temporary freedom would be a miracle," Trist clicked. "Many of our people have never known what it's like to resist the Vexari. With the Approval of the conquered leaders, Mireille and her team began developing the neural implant. Meanwhile, engineer Sang-hoon Park worked with conquered technicians to design integrated weapon systems that combined human tactical thinking with conquered technology. The Vexari have always counted on the pacification field, Sang-hoon explained, to Captain Taeho. Their ships have amazing technology, but their actual combat systems are less advanced than you'd expect. They've never needed to develop them further. Because they've never faced an enemy that could truly fight back, Taeho realized. Exactly, Sang-hoon grinned. But now they're facing humans, and soon they'll face humans fighting alongside allies who know all their weaknesses. In a secure facility near Seoul, the first group of Concord volunteers received the neural implants. Dr. Mireille watched nervously as the aliens were exposed to a small pacification field for testing. "How do you feel?" she asked Karox, who had been one of the first volunteers. The red-skinned alien stood perfectly still, his 4 eyes wide. I feel the field," he said slowly. "I can sense it trying to reach the inhibitor in my mind, but it cannot connect." His hands clenched into fists. "I can still think of fighting. I can still feel anger toward the Vexari." Tears formed in his eyes. "For the first time in my life, I am truly free." Similar reactions came from the other volunteers. The implants worked. The conquered members could now resist the pacification, fields that had enslaved their people for generations. As the newly immune conquered warriors trained alongside humans, word of the alliance spread. More Concord ships arrived in secret, bringing representatives from other enslaved species who wanted to join the fight. In a secure room, a captured Vexari officer watched as humans and Concord members trained together. Captain Taeho had brought him to observe, hoping to send a message back to the Vexari command. "This is impossible," the Vexari prisoner said, his voice shaking. "The pacification field should stop them." "Not anymore," Taeho replied. "We've found a way to block it." The Vexari's 4 eyes blinked rapidly in distress. "You've weaponized our greatest advantage against us," he said to Captain Taeho. "You're not just missing an off switch. You found a way to disable everyone else's." Taeho nodded. "That's right. And soon, we'll be taking the fight to the Vexari Collective. Not just to defend Earth, but to free all the worlds you've enslaved." The Vexari officer slumped in his chair. "The High Council never should have ordered your planet's invasion," he whispered. "They didn't understand what they were unleashing." "No," Taeho agreed. "They didn't. But they're about to find out." As he spoke, more ships from the combined human Concord fleet were appearing in orbit, preparing for the next phase of the war. The time for defense was over. Now humanity would take the fight to the stars. 1 year after the Vexari invasion of Earth began, the combined human Concord fleet prepared for its most daring mission yet. They were no longer fighting a defensive war. Now, they would take the battle to the heart of the Vexari Collective, their home system. Admiral Do-yeon Kang stood on the bridge of the flagship Indomitable, a massive vessel built with both human and conquered technology. Through the view screen, she watched as hundreds of ships gathered in formation. Many were crewed by humans. Others carried conquered members fitted with neural implants that blocked the pacification field. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said her second-in-command, Captain Taeho Kim. Do-yeon nodded. "Then it's time. Open a channel to the fleet." As the communication system activated, Do-yeon took a deep breath. "This is Admiral Kang to all ships. 1 year ago, the Vexari came to Earth believing they could easily conquer us. They expected us to have a weakness they could exploit, a neural combat inhibitor that would force us to surrender. They found instead a species that does not know how to stop fighting when threatened." She paused, looking at the diverse crew on her bridge, humans working alongside members of the Astral Conquered. "Today we fight not just for Earth, but for all worlds oppressed by the Vexari. Their empire was built on a biological exploitation that ends now. Together, we will show the galaxy that true strength comes not from controlling others, but from standing together against tyranny." Cheers erupted across the communication channels as the fleet began moving toward the jump point. The Indomitable led the way, powering up its advanced engines. "Jump in 3, 2, 1. Tejo counted down. Space bent around them, and the fleet vanished from Earth's system. In the Vexari home system, panic spread as defense commanders detected the incoming fleet. None had expected the humans and their allies to strike directly at the Vexari homeworld. On the central defense platform, Supreme Commander Vox of the Vexari military could not believe the reports. "How many ships?" he demanded. "Over 500, Supreme Commander," answered his aide. "Most appear to be of mixed human and conquered design." Vox's 4 eyes narrowed. "Impossible. The conquered species cannot fight. Their neural inhibitors prevent. Could intelligence suggests the humans have found a way to block the inhibitors, sir." Vox slammed his fist on the control panel. "Prepare our final defense. Activate the Omega pacification field." His aide looked alarmed. "Sir, the Omega field U has never been tested at full power. The energy requirements are enormous." "Do it," Vox ordered. "The humans may have found a way to block the standard field, but the Omega field operates on a much broader spectrum. Not even their primitive brains can resist it." Throughout the system, massive energy collectors began charging. The Omega pacification field was the Vexari's secret weapon, designed to affect not just the neural inhibitors of normal species, but to overwhelm any mind with a wave of fear and submission. "The humans have forced us to this," Vox muttered. "Let them experience what real pacification feels like." The human Concord fleet emerged from jump space at the edge of the Vexari system. Immediately, Admiral Doyan gave orders to deploy in battle formation. "All ships, shields at maximum," she commanded. "Be prepared for anything." Beside her, Dr. Mireille Choi monitored data from special sensors. She had joined the mission to observe how the Vexari might respond to their attack. "Admiral," Mireille said, "suddenly, I'm detecting a massive energy buildup in the system. It appears to be centered on those structures around the 5th planet." Doyan frowned. "Analysis? It looks like they're preparing some kind of system-wide pacification field," Mireille reported. "Much stronger than anything we've seen before." Zalith, the Concord representative on the bridge, stepped forward. "The Omega field," he said, his voice tight with fear. "It's a weapon the Vexari have been developing for centuries, designed to affect even species with partial resistance to the standard field." "Will our implants protect your people?" Doyan asked. Zalith hesitated. "I don't know. The Omega field works on different principles. It may overwhelm the implants." Doyan turned to Tejo. "We need to destroy those energy collectors before they can activate the field. Captain, take a strike team and target the main control station." "Yes, Admiral," Tejo replied, already moving toward the shuttle bay. But they were too late. As the strike team prepared to launch, a pulse of energy spread from the Vexari facilities. The wave looked different from the normal pacification field. Deeper, more complex patterns of light that rippled across space. On the bridge of the Indomitable, everyone tensed as the wave hit them. The Concord members braced for impact, their implants heating up as they worked to block the signal. Doyan felt a strange pressure in her mind, a whisper suggesting that fighting was pointless, that surrender would be easier. But the feeling was weak, like a distant voice easily ignored. "Status report," she called out. Around the bridge, humans shook their heads, clearing away the mild confusion. The Concord members looked shocked but functional. "Admiral," Zalith said, with wonder in his voice. "The Omega field. It barely affected me. The implant held." Similar reports came in from across the fleet. The Vexari superweapon had failed. On the Vexari defense platform, Supreme Commander Vox stared at the readings in disbelief. "The field had no effect?" he whispered. "How is this possible?" "Sir," his aide reported, "the humans show almost no response to the Omega field. And the Concord species, they must have some kind of protection. They continue to fight alongside the humans." Before Vox could respond, alarms blared. Multiple ships approaching the defense platform, boarding parties detected. The door to the command center exploded, inward. Through the smoke stepped Colonel Jiwan Lee, leading a team of human and conquered soldiers. "Supreme Commander Vox," Jiwan said, his weapon aimed steadily. "In the name of Earth and the free conquered, you are ordered to surrender." Vox stood frozen, his mind unable to process what was happening. "You cannot be here," he said. "The Omega field should have stopped you." Jiwan shook his head. "Your weapons don't work on us, Commander. Humans evolved without your convenient off switch. And now, we've helped our allies overcome theirs too." Slowly, Supreme Commander Vox raised his hands in surrender. The battle for the Vexari home system lasted just 6 hours. With their ultimate weapon neutralized, and their defense strategy in ruins, most Vexari forces surrendered quickly. Those who continued fighting were swiftly defeated by the combined human Concord forces. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Admiral Doyon accepted the formal surrender of the Vexari High Council. "Your empire is ended," she told them. "All worlds under Vexari control will be given their freedom and self-determination." The head counselor, an elderly Vexari with pale purple skin, looked at her with a mixture of fear and confusion. "How did you do it? How did you overcome the fundamental law of intelligent evolution?" Doyon smiled slightly. "There is no single path for evolution, counselor. Your species evolved an off-switch for conflict, ours never did." Captain Tejo, standing nearby, added, "Evolution took different paths for our species. Yours developed an off-switch for conflict. Ours never did." In the months that followed, a new galactic order emerged. The former Vexari Empire was dismantled, its member worlds given freedom to choose their own paths. Many joined the new Galactic Charter, an alliance of free worlds led jointly by humans and former conquered members. In Seoul, crowds gathered to watch as Admiral Do-yeon Kang addressed the United Nations. Her image was broadcast across Earth and to thousands of newly liberated worlds. "Our greatest weakness was thought to be our violent nature, our inability to stop fighting," she said. "Today, that same trait has earned humanity a place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as liberators." On a gleaming diplomatic station orbiting Earth, Ambassador Jin Woo Kang welcomed representatives from 27 alien species. Together they signed the Galactic Charter, with its first principle enshrined in the preamble: "No sentient being shall ever again be subjugated through biological exploitation." Dr. Mireille Choi continued her research, working with scientists from many worlds to understand the diversity of neural structures across species. Her work led to improved implants that gave permanent protection against pacification fields. As Jin Woo looked out at the stars from the station's observation deck, Zelith joined him. "Your people changed everything," the alien said. "For millennia, species with combat inhibitors were controlled by those who understood how to use them. We thought it was the natural order." Jin Woo shook his head. "There is no natural order, my friend. Only choices we make together. The Vexari scientists still insist that humans are an evolutionary anomaly," Zelith said with a sound like gentle laughter. "They cannot understand how a species without a combat inhibitor didn't destroy itself." "Perhaps that's what they never understood," Jin Woo replied. "Humans don't need a biological switch to choose peace. We can choose it freely, even while maintaining the ability to fight when necessary." As they spoke, more ships arrived at Earth, representatives from distant worlds who had heard the story of the species with no off-switch, the species that had freed the galaxy from biological tyranny. Humanity's lack of a combat inhibitor, once considered an evolutionary flaw by galactic standards, had become their greatest contribution to a free galaxy.